good. I like music. Music is a big part of video games. Undeniably, it's one of the major aspects you remember when you think about a game. So, because I like video games, and I like music, and I apparently do reviews now, I have to do an obligatory top 10 in my eyes about top video... my favorite video game soundtracks. Cue the fancy CG!
10.
Borderlands has a soundtrack which works in a way that most video game soundtracks shouldn't. I honestly couldn't hum you more than 1 or 2 songs off of it. Somehow the music strives to be so uninvasive that it manages to perfectly complement the many states of downtime through which you'll be playing it. The distant percussion and discordant guitar strings ringing out across the desert serve to construct an amazing atmosphere. A trend continued in Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, although with a much more synthetic spin in the latter. Borderlands sets a bar in atmospheric musical pieces. Doom is a testament to the power of a tune and a melody. Restricted by MIDI sound sampling and ancient audio hardware, the Doom soundtrack seeks its inspiration from established heavy metal artists and songs to beat out the rhythm of violent bloodshed, and it does so perfectly to this day. Although Wolfenstein was a great example of Bobby Prince's work, Doom 1 is the pinnacle of it, and established the iconic sound for which he would use in Doom 2 and Rise of the Triad. Imagine getting drip-fed a liquidized concoction of 1980s sci-fi. Well, as much as that's not a thing, playing Far Cry Blood Dragon is probably as close as you can get next to watching Kung Fury.
Where's the strike?
Thank you.
A neon-fueled adrenaline rush of chromatically aberrated action, you'd need something to rip out cyborg hearts to. Luckily, synthwave duo Power Glove have you covered. A love letter to classic shooter games, the Serious Sam series is a high-octane testosterone rollercoaster of circle-strafing action, largely attributed to Duke Nukem 3D and the aforementioned Doom series. Serious Sam as a series, however, has since become a classic staple in and of itself, with multiple releases over the years and an active user-gen content base. Serious Sam 3 aimed to modernize the series, and composer Damjan Mravrunak took to reinvigorating some of Crow Team's most iconic tunes from past Sam games, and added some gritty edge to them, as well as some original compositions being featured, including a guest appearance by metal band Undercode, and Damjan himself making a vocal appearance on the track Hero, and he does a pretty impressive job of it.
Come
Now where would the Halo series be without its music? Well, probably a multi-million-dollar juggernaut franchise still, I suppose, but it wouldn't have been as musical? Anyway, the Halo series is known for its melodical rock and orchestral tracks, as well as some iconic themes which have been reused throughout the series. However, Halo 4 made some bold steps in new directions, which I found applaudable, but fans' reactions were mixed, to say the least. Even bolder, though, was new composer Neil Davidge's choice to not include any established themes in Halo 4, composing an entirely new soundtrack, one which was more contemplative, serving to highlight the more human tones and direction Halo 4's story took over other games. Some mighty pieces made for some memorable combat instances and surely some awe-inspiring clashes. It's just a shame this desire to break the series' chains was basically reversed with the recent Halo 5. But here's the music. Alright, let's stop killing things for a while, shall we? Hell, why not contemplate over the value and meaning of life instead? Are frogs people? Is existence inherently positive? Can you shoot NUI in the face? We may never know. What I can tell you though is that Croteam, developer of the aforementioned Serious Sam games, decided to work completely in the opposite direction of their past work on Serious Sam and developed the philosophical first-person puzzler that is the Talos Principle. However, Croteam themselves were not alone in working in this new ground, as composer Damjan Ravenak moves from the gut-punching Serious Sam 3 soundtrack to some beautiful, resplendent tunes worthy of reverence in any church or cathedral. I cannot recommend the Talos Principle enough, so hopefully this music alone does something to convince you to make an informed purchase. Okay, let's cut to the chase. I love Undertale. I love it, I adore it, I respect it, I want to relive it. The writing is knowing and self-inflective, the narrative is confronting and complex, the humor is perfectly timed and knows when to make an appearance and when not, and the characters are all so memorable, lovable, and well-designed. Undertale succeeds in so many places that it could have been forgiven for having a serviceable at best soundtrack. However, the music takes the strengths of the world that has been built and somehow perfectly encapsulates it into audio form. An amalgamate of different audio genres, the environments and characters are so closely entwined that it's totally plausible to think they'd been finely developed to work together from the ground up. Take Bone Trussell, take Papyrus. How could anything else work after hearing this? Take Snowden Town. Take its music. That's it. I want to live there. Fuck it. Give me a house key. I'm going in.
Alright, let me just key to my new house. Key. Oh no!
And let's not forget the one, the only, ever evolved and built upon Megalovania. Oh man, listening to the tunes from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire fills me with the urge to explore, to venture, to dive the deepest oceans and climb the highest mountains. I can't quite describe what makes me feel so strongly about this soundtrack. There's just so much life in every area. Just listen to this dive tune. You ever had the urge to live underwater? You do now. Also, the 3DS remakes take the same tunes and blast them with higher quality sound fonts and even more tunes, so fuck it. Crash Bandicoot 2 is a sequel that takes a fantastic formula and redefines it to oh heck. The controls are tight, the level design is near flawless, and the graphics are done in a way that makes the game appear timeless, almost deliberately retro. To top it all off, composer Josh Mansell uses sound fonts and samples to work a strange kind of artificial magic to his tunes. The use of pre-made sounds used in a way that highlights the strengths of his compositions rather than hide any flaws. You ever heard music of banging pipes together and wanted to hear more of it? No? Try this on for size. You ever heard a song with jingle bells in it that you actually liked? Well, Mansell's got your back. Seriously though, I can't think of a more perfect 3D platformer game than Crash 2, and to have an amazing soundtrack on top serves to be one of my most sought out and replayed experiences. Rayman. Possibly my all-time favourite video game franchise. I could talk your ear off for days on end about the strength of this franchise, especially including the recent Origins and Legends, which I consider the pinnacle of 2D gaming in both control and level design. The franchise has always tied itself closely with music. In Rayman 2, the accompanying music serves to illustrate the mood of the events transpiring, becoming a prominent tool in storytelling. The music in Rayman 3 is incredibly prominent for world building and establishing life and atmosphere to new environments, and is over 8 hours long. In Rayman Legends, you literally get to play through music and rhythm levels. In Rayman Raving Rabbids, there's that fun little dancing game, which is really the only reason anyone played it apart from the shooter segments and the admittedly funny TV commercials. However, in my eyes, no video game, Rayman series or otherwise, has shown such masterful utilization of tune and composition, as well as memorability and variance, as the first Rayman game. Composed by Remy Gazelle, the tunes are funky, inflective, sad, ponderous, intimidating, uplifting, and leering all throughout one play of the game. Each tune serves to highlight a specific situation or world perfectly, and to top it all off, this is real-life orchestra, baby! Seriously though, I just want you to look at this section here and tell me this doesn't perfectly encapsulate the potential threat of the situation. Now listen to the game over music. Did you feel bad? You sad? You're gonna quit when the world is hanging by a thread, or you're gonna do something about it! Honestly though, Remy is such an underrated composer, and his work on Rayman 1 is no exception. A lot of people never got to experience the best and rest of the soundtrack because they weren't able to mantle the soul-crushing difficulty of Bandland's Bongo Hills, a long haul which served as a proving grounds to let the game know you were tough enough to save the world. And I guess that's fair. But with the power of the internet, do yourself a favour and give this soundtrack a proper whirl. Maybe you'll shed a tear like I do from time to time. Also, Remy has some coverage of rehearsals for a live performance of the Rayman soundtrack over on his YouTube, so you should give that a whirl as well. Now, I know I've missed some great soundtracks. Limiting myself to just 10 was hard, and in a week or so I'll probably remember that I left off the list and I'll probably kick myself for it. But rather than yelling at me about my opinions, you could always share a suggestion instead. I'm always open to new study music, baby. And also, remember to like my video and check out the other stuff. What's going on here today is bring the curtains across. Remember to like my video. And as always guys, you can help me out by liking the video and checking out some of my other stuff. This is the obligatory end of video plug, you see. So, yeah, Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you when I do my next review. Or just watch, you know, like one of my videos I upload every day. That would also be pretty cool. So wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on the microphone. Leave me up and eat my butthole if you fuck.